Hey, Believe Nation, it's David Imonitie again. Super excited to announce that the I Believe experience is finally happening. We've got our VIP night on the 8th of January. Then we've got the Believe experience. The I Believe experience is going to happen on Saturday. It is going to be absolutely incredible. This is also going to be a weekend of giving as well, because on Sunday, we're going to have the I Believe Foundation Gala, the 8th, 9th, and 10th. Start planning for it now. We're going into 2021 very fast. This is the year of acceleration. Don't miss it. January the 8th, 9th, and 10th. I'm going to be there. We're going to have some incredible leaders. They're going to be there as well. Don't miss the VIP night. Don't miss the I Believe experience. And definitely join us for a night of giving and sharing with the world at the I Believe Foundation. I'll see you guys, all right? Love you. Believe Nation. Take care. All right, Believe Nation. Welcome back. It's David Imonitie here. Super excited to be back on with each and every one of you today. It is the very last month of the year. 2020 has gone by in a flash, and really excited about everything that's happened this year. Really excited about 2021. We're moving very fast into it. This is going to be the year of acceleration, abundance, wealth, peace, happiness, all the things that you've been desiring, and you've set goals for the next 3 years, 5 years. I believe all of that's going to be happening here in 2021. So get ready. Start preparing right now. I was listening to a mentor of mine the other day, and he said, this is really a season of restoration, where everything that you thought you lost in 2020, it is going to be restored to you. But in that word, restoration is rest. And you've got to rest in that knowing. You've got to rest in that ability, not your ability, but in that ability to restore everything that you thought you actually lost. I really believe that every setback, it really is a setup. I know you've heard that, sounds really cliche, but I've seen that in my life as well. So many things that I thought may not have been, working out for my favor. I look up 6 months, 12 months, 18 months later, 3 years later, 10 years later, and I realized that those things that I thought were maybe some of the worst times of my life really prepared me, developed me for where it is that I am today. So even if you're going through some things right now, just know, all right, just know that those things are preparing you for where it is that you want to go. And really what I'm talking about is really leadership, and that's what Believe Nation is really all about. It's one of the pillars in Believe Nation. So I know you're a part of it, but make sure every single day, maybe even right now, maybe send out a text message to someone, send out your referral link and say, hey, be a part of this nation, be a part of this nation where we're going to be teaching people really how to grow in their spirituality and in their faith, teaching people how to have emotional strength. There's 7 different pillars. We've actually put together a product that we're going to be releasing this month here, and it's called Pivots to Success. And it's really going to talk about the 7 pillars of success, the 7 different areas of your life that you want to master, ladies and gentlemen. If you master these 7 areas, I believe that you can live a very full, happy, and grateful life. I'm really pumped up for today's topic, or today's guest that's on here. He is one of the very best that I know in the area of leadership, one of the very best men that I know as well. I'll be bringing him on here in a second. But guys, listen, we've got some amazing things that are coming up right now. We're kicking off the year with a major event. The I Believe experience, ladies and gentlemen, is happening January 8th, 9th, and 10th. Now, the VIP is already sold out. We have just a couple tickets left. We had some tickets open up because some people from an international standpoint may not be able to travel in. So we have some tickets open up. Go on the website, ibelieve.events, and get your tickets. Now, listen, guys, the VIP night is just a dinner, maybe a little Q&A, but it's not a training day. The actual training where the workbook is going to be given, and I'm going to be training pretty much from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., that is going to be Saturday. That's the main event. So you're not missing anything if you can't get into the VIP dinner, all right? You're missing the dinner, missing the Q&A, some intimate time, but the main meat, ladies and gentlemen, the main day is Saturday, the I Believe experience we're going to be having. And then obviously on Sunday, that is going to be the I Believe Foundation Gala, where that is going to be a night of giving and receiving. So I'm really pumped up that we're doing it now. As a matter of fact, we were supposed to do this back in April, I believe, March or April of this year, of 2020. But obviously with the pandemic and everything that took place, we had to move it. We moved it again. I think we were going to do it in June. Then we moved it again and said, hey, we're going to do it in November. And now we're doing it in January. I believe it's perfect timing. It is the season of acceleration. All the goals that you've written down. And I put out a challenge on my Instagram yesterday, and I'm going to put the challenge out here as well. It's a challenge for me. It's a challenge for you. 500 goals, ladies and gentlemen. By Saturday, I want you to have written down 500 goals, ladies and gentlemen. Get a journal, right? And at the top, put, I'm so happy and grateful now that every single goal that I write down is completely done. 500 goals. It's a big stretch, but I want you to do it. I want you to stretch your mind to believe, ladies and gentlemen. A mind that's been stretched to a certain point can never come back, all right? Can never, ever come back. So let's do that, really close out this year. And you do it because you've got trust. You do it because you know that you write the vision, you make it plain, who sees it will run. Everything that I've ever written down in my life, every goal that I've ever put down, every picture that I've ever put down has happened in my life. The only ones that haven't happened yet are the ones that are up right now. And ladies and gentlemen, they're happening, right? Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean that it's not happening, right? When you plant that seed into the ground and you don't see anything, right? It's in the dark, right? That's really where creation takes place, when nobody can actually see what's going on, and it's happening. You look up a month, 6 months, a year, 3 years, and now you've got all this fruit. So that's the way it works also with your words. That's the way it works also with your images and what you're visualizing right now. And it also works that way with your emotions as well. I believe that we have a commercial that we're actually running here. We have a commercial. A lot of people are loving the merchandise. I love the merchandise. I think the team is absolutely amazing. Dawn, incredible. She heads our merchandise division. She's doing an amazing job along with Devondre, and obviously Quinn Lewis oversees all of that. But guys, people are pumped up about this, and we've got something pretty unique that we're going to be releasing. Really a slogan, right? It's all about Believe Nation, but a slogan that I believe is going to take this thing to a whole nother level. And I've kind of talked about it a little bit, but I want to let the cat out the bag. But go online and get your merchandise, join the movement, and you can work out in it, wear it around, and people are going to ask you, hey, what is that? What's Believe Nation? What's that logo? And let them know about what it is that we're doing here. We're growing every single day. I believe right now we're right at 40,000 citizens in Believe Nation right now, and it's growing every single day. So share this live. If you're live right now, go ahead and share it, because I'm about to bring on our special guest. I had a chance to meet this gentleman maybe about 8 years ago, maybe 7, 8 years ago. Just an incredible gentleman, incredible husband, father, businessman. He's a spiritual leader. He's also a pastor, incredible minister. I've seen a lot of people preach, but man, I haven't seen too many people that could preach like Dr. Luke Quamina, and I'm so grateful that he was able to join us on this live here today. And I want to bring him on now. I know he's here. He's coming in from Trinidad and Tobago, him and his lovely wife and 2 beautiful kids. Dr. Luke, you there?
What's up, man? How are you?
I'm fantastic. How is Trini over there? How's Trinidad over there?
Fantastic. Fantastic. Absolute. We create our own worlds in our own world, right?
Yeah,
We create our own
absolutely.
world. So to me, it's absolutely blessed. God is tremendous. My family and I, we're safe, and it's such a privilege and an honor to be on here with you today.
Absolutely. The privilege and honor is mine as well. I want to say thank you again. And, Luke, we're going to jump right into it. A lot of people are really excited about this week when they found out that you were going to be live with us. And, I've watched you lead. I've watched you grow in your personal life. I've watched you grow in your business life as well. I've watched you grow in your ministry. And that's why when we put together this platform and we said we were going to have these 7 different pillars, and we were going to have different coaches and mentors that would be able to give information and give inspiration within Believe Nation. When I looked at leadership as one of the pillars, you were the very first name that I thought of, and I said he would be the perfect person to actually share and teach on leadership. So we're going to get into that today, but let's talk about you. Where you come from, and your pedigree. I know you come from an incredible pedigree and incredible family. Let's talk about that first, and then we'll jump into the main topic of today.
Thanks again for giving me the opportunity. Just like everybody else, I started naked and upside down, and I was born at a very young age.
Mm-hmm.
And to pastors, my father was a school teacher at first, and my mother really was not employed. And the very beginning of my life, I think I remember, we grew up in a one-room house, and the walls were made of what you call zinc or galvanized, that is usually used for the roofing. And the
Wow.
floor was not actually, it wasn't a floor. It wasn't casted. There was no cement. There was no wood. There's no tiles. It
Wow.
was outside. It was outside, but it was inside.
You had
And
an outside, inside home. Okay, I got
you,
that's pretty bad. Luke, that's pretty bad. I didn't know it was that bad.
so I didn't know that it was bad until I got invited to a friend's birthday party. And his father was a doctor. So when I went there, first of all, I realized that they had gates to their homes. Like, you
Oh,
wait for the gate to open up, and then you come in. You just don't walk in like it's by me, right? All the houses had nice manicured lawns. All their dogs were full breed dogs. Where I grew up, all the dogs are like mixed the hell up. Nobody has walls, or nobody's, houses are blocked up, so all the dogs just get together in the yard, right? So everybody's dogs are just mixed the hell
you had
up.
a
You don't even
dog.
know what breed you.
You had a dog convention going on in front of your house.
Exactly,
Right.
exactly. So when I go by this friend's house, I realize there's artwork on the walls. The couches matched. I've never seen a matched couch set. Like, you get a piece from here. When you're in the hand-me-down times, you just get everything that you can get. And I realized there was order, there was excellence, there was neatness. Once I went to his home and I came back home, some hit me, and I realized we're we're pretty badly off, right? And but I love my family because they never made us feel poor
Mm.
until I got that revelation. When I was able to see somebody else's environment, I realized we had some work to do.
Mm.
And I think the epiphany for me was one day getting ready for school, put my feet in my shoes. Shoes was busted out. I could see my socks, and I thought, well, I get to stay home that day because you don't go to school with shoes with holes. And I told my mom, and she kind of pulled me aside, said, "Don't say it too loud. Your father's going to get angry. We don't have money to buy you a new shoe, so you're going to make sure that it's clean. You're going to go to school
Wow.
with it." I said, "No, you don't go to school with a shoe with a hole." And she says, "You do in this house." And that was 2 weeks, Dave.
Wow.
2 weeks. It cost about $8 at that time, because I do remember the price because I went with her to buy it. $8.
Wow.
A working dad and a mom did not have $8 to replace my shoes. And in high school, if you are called any name for too
Wait,
long, that could
Luke, hold
be.
on. Time out. Tell me this did not happen to you in high school. Tell me this was like.
No, this sorry, what we call primary school, I was 8 years old.
Okay, all right, cool. Because high school,
So this
you
is
wouldn't have
this is what
survived.
you will call. No, I wouldn't have survived.
Right.
I would have still had that name by now, right?
Right.
But it was still embarrassing,
Of
Dave.
course. Of
And
course.
here's what's embarrassing. What's embarrassing is that people believe that when you say you're a Christian and you serve God,
Mm.
behind those walls and under that label, everything just works out. You know, there's no worry, there's no concern. And people think that pastors are rich. I mean, some are, but we were broke as a joke. My dad had one suit, he wore it every Sunday. The
Wow.
same suit, Sunday after Sunday.
Mm.
So that was the day I think the giant within me woke up.
Wow. Wow.
Because I had to say, we can't live like this anymore. And I'm going to find a way to buy my own shoes.
Mm.
And that's when I started just making efforts towards entrepreneurship.
Right. So you obviously finished school, and did you go on to college or university? How did that?
Went on to college, did management information systems, got a job with Dell, got pretty bored out in the field just dealing with systems. I said, I'm going to deal in management. did management information systems, organizational leadership at a master's level, and then I continued that under education at a doctoral level. I think in the Caribbean, when you grew up, education, especially in the Black community, is the way that the parents say, this is how you get out of poverty.
Right.
And I was always better in sports than I was with my books. So I blossomed later on, like after I stopped playing sports, because I couldn't do sports and study in that balance at the same time. I was just too much involved. I did
Right.
national soccer, I did national cricket, and so I just put everything into it. I blossomed as a student later on in college. So I did that, pursued the degrees, but realized, man, you can have more degrees than a thermometer and still be broke.
Right.
And so I said, no, this is not working out. I need to,
When did,
to master
when did you
something outside
transition?
of school.
Yeah, when did you transition into entrepreneurship?
Well, I started at 8. Well, when I couldn't buy the shoe, I started to sell sandwiches in school. I would carry extra sandwiches in my bag, started to sell them in school.
Wow.
I started a little fish aquarium where other kids were buying fish from me. I used to sell fruits. I grew up in the country area of Trinidad. I will pick those fruits, climb them up, wash them off, bag them, sell them from my bag. If you ever meet my dad, he'll tell you since I was 9, I never asked for money from my parents. Since I was 9 years old. It
Wow.
was the end of asking anybody for anything because I hated the feeling of thinking that my fulfillment or my wealth or my satisfaction was in somebody else. And when I asked them for it, they rejected me and I had no control. I was
Right.
done with that at 8.
Wow.
And so that's where that is. But I really got into network marketing or entrepreneurship in that online space in 2012.
Right.
You were actually my first hotel meeting presentation.
2012. That's what I thought it was. I thought it was 2012. I want to point something out though for our viewers that are actually watching right now. Change in your life usually only takes place with two things. One is through spaced repetition. Now, that's really what you want. You really want to make change with spaced repetition. What does spaced repetition mean? Meaning that I do something over and over and over and over again, and because I've repeated that action, it's now provided me the opportunity to change. But there's another one that is pretty impactful, okay? And Dr. Luke, I think that's what happened to you at 8 years old. It's what we call emotional impact. All right? Emotional impact. There is a moment in our lives, every successful person and every unsuccessful person, there are moments in your life where you have that emotional impact, where he really thought, there's no way I'm going to school with holes in my shoes. It's impossible. My parents wouldn't do this to me. But they did, and they did it for 2 weeks. So this emotional impact wasn't like a moment. It was like for 2 weeks. And it caused you a situation that was, terrible in that very moment, especially for an 8-year-old, traumatizing. It woke something on the inside of you and caused you to change. And that change, what happened, those holes in those shoes, is what's allowed you to become the person that you are today. Sounds crazy, but that's just the truth.
Yeah, yeah. Dave, I realize people are either running from something or they're running to something, but everybody's running. And usually when you run from something, it's a pain that is from something in your past. When you're running towards something, it's a joy or goal or what the Apostle Paul said, there's a mark I'm pressing forward to. That's why I'm able to forget the things that lie behind. And I thank God I've gotten to the place where my gratitude includes I glory in my infirmities. I glory in the setups for me to go up. Before I wondered why me? Because you didn't have the value of 2020 to look back and see how it would change the course of your life. I looked at your picture that you posted with your mom for her birthday and I said, look at what time, just time. Nobody knows what the future holds. Look at David sitting down in his mother's lap. Probably,
3.
I don't know what was in his mind at that time, but look at what time can do. If somebody would just be patient, grateful, fight, don't give up, keep going, get with the right people, read the right books, take the right action. If you would just keep going, look at what time can do.
Wow.
And that is what it was for me. I realized if I didn't get embarrassed and feel ashamed, if I didn't get broken, if I did not bleed, then I may have rested in that comfort. Now, let me say this too, and I want to be careful how I say this, especially for those in the faith. I didn't like how I had to get the shoe, meaning we were praying for God to open a door for somebody to bless us. I didn't feel that I had control over the process. Now, I understand faith, but the works that needed to match the faith was missing in my family's life. And that's where I believe a lot of us miss it, because faith sometimes is an alibi to not work. Faith is an excuse to sit down and say you're being patient. But to me, patience is not doing anything. When I say I have faith or I have belief, there must be evidence in the activities that you are taking to show me that you believe.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. I had to take action.
You know, I got a revelation on work the other day, because most of us have a negative connotation when it comes to work. We think work is just physical. We don't realize, because when you look up the definition, and I'll pull it up right here, the definition of the word work, it says it's an activity. The activity involving mental or physical effort. See, most of us think it's just physical effort, right? But it says that it involves mental or physical effort. So when it says faith without works is dead, what it's basically saying is the work that needs to take place is what's going to activate the faith, is what's going to allow your faith to come alive. So faith comes by hearing. So I hear something, but it doesn't really work for me until I go and do the mental and the physical work. And the rest of the definition says mental and physical effort done in order to achieve a purpose or result. Right? So I've got faith, right? But most people are missing that mental and that physical world, that work, in order to go and achieve what it is that they actually want. And I know you personally, so I know these two areas are areas that you are well versed in, and that is the area of faith and the area of leadership. And that's why I wanted you to be a part of Believe Nation. I wanted you to be on this live as well. And I'm going to do very little talking today. I really want them to get all of Luke Quamina today. So I want you to really dive into those two aspects, and how have you been able to combine them to not just have success in business, but also have success in your ministry, have success in your family as well.
All right. Well, thank you again. Give me the opportunity to just share. You know, I want to put this in before I actually lay out that leadership aspect, that you were the first example that I had. Pastor son. You were in college at the time. College, I listened to the same language that you use. I listened to the same values. But you were the first person that I saw you blended faith and your entrepreneurship, and you never compromised your faith because you were in business. You used it as your core of your philosophy and how you impacted individuals, which leads me into one of the first principles of leadership, which is the principle of leading with the right influence. Today, influencers, it's a big word. Everybody wants to have influence. Everybody wants to have a lot of followers. Everybody wants to have a lot of likes. And we often hear the word influencer, but it's one of the first principles of leadership, where you decide that you are going to create the right type of influence. And that goes beyond competence to the depth of character, the type of person you are. I always remember I was standing in Walmart. We were in another company. I was cross-lined to you. And I asked you counsel about my business. And you said, well, Luke, there's nobody around. Just you and I on the phone. And you said, well, Luke, I'm not your upline. I don't have access to your back office. And I cannot give you counsel on this specific area of your business. But you pointed me in a direction that I could have gotten some type of information and advice. That to me is what I called character. Character is who you are in the dark. Character is what you do when there are no applause to be gotten after you've done it. Character is what you do. I've been backstage. We were in Barbados. A lady walked up to you and said, I don't have rent. You don't know her from Adam. You've never posted that you did that, but I was there standing next to you. You paid her rent. You said, Luke, Lord told me to help her out. She was genuine. Those things done in the dark was what convinced me this is a leader that's worth modeling. I would tell you this, there are a lot of people out there that are great performers, great results. They've accomplished a lot, but I won't follow everyone. And I follow people from their values go out. Even though we need to see fruit to see, hey, this person has the results. You still have to understand when you follow someone, you have a strong tendency to be like them. Mm. And I can't tell you that I will pursue any type of success. As a believer, somebody who is grounded in the faith and the values that I have, I decided that, hey, I'm going to create the right influence. The second principle of leadership is to create the right priorities. Mm. The right priorities of a leader. What are your priorities in leadership? Whatever you're involved in. And let me say this, leadership begins at home. I think it was David who said this. He says, why so downcast, O my soul? Put your trust, put your hope. He says, bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is within me. The day I realized that self needed leadership, that mind wants to do one thing, heart wants to do one thing, soul, mind, will, intellect, and emotions want to do something, will wants to do something, and I have to give leadership to everything that is within me. The day I recognized that was the day others started to follow me, because I was now worth following, because I was setting the right priorities for myself.
Mm. Now,
you know, for me,
real quick, before you move on to the next one, I want to touch on these first two, and I want to ask a couple questions here. The first one, leading with the right influence. How do I'm listening to this right now, and maybe I'm just starting my leadership journey. How do I gain influence? How do I get influence? I hate to say over people, because you don't really have influence over people, and that's part of having the right type of influence. But how am I able to gain influence in the lives of people in order to influence them the right way? Because there's a thin line between influence and manipulation, right?
Yeah.
So how does a person go about that? Because I have my own thoughts on it, and what I know is that in order for me to influence someone else, I first have to influence me, right? So
yes,
how does a person go about gaining that influence?
Well, I mean, you said it, that it goes down to the philosophy. I've learned a lot from you throughout those years, 8 years. And I'm going to use this as an example because of our relationship. One is you have to decide, how am I going to add value to others? Every one of us, within our lives, we hold a solution to a problem that exists in the world. And you have to find a way to add value to the lives of others by becoming a person of value. You have to become a person of value. You're filled, you're overflowing, and then you have to learn how to add value to others. Now, here's the clincher. And this is something I learned from you. You told me the other day, I said, Dave, why haven't you recorded a new presentation? And he said, no, I'm not going to record a new presentation. He says, right now, I'm setting up others. I want others to be in the light. I want others to run their race now. I want others to be in the spotlight. And that hit me. It mightn't have been a lesson you were teaching, but I wrote it down. You're at the place of what I call pinnacle leadership, where you're setting the influence and setting the stage for other ones to believe and access everything that you have accessed in your life. So the priority that you are in, the season of leadership you're in, is that you have developed leaders around you, and now you're creating the platform for them to run their race. So once you've added value to others, what I learned from you is you have to work yourself out of the spotlight. And it's a very unselfish thing to do, where you're doing something and you're not really sticking around for the applause, the likes, the comments. You did it. It's like Jesus says, hey, I'm not going to be here. I'm setting this thing up for you guys. I want you to run with it. I want you to do greater things than I ever did in this industry. And I'm going to make sure to set you up. Very few leaders get there. But what you've shown me is that it's possible. You are a living example to show me at the height of your success. You're saying, Luke, it's no longer about who's in the spotlight, but who sets up the stage. And that was very, very powerful for me.
Yeah. You know who I got that from, and you mentioned who it is. I did get that from Jesus. And it was 3 years. I mean, his leadership was a 3-year process. He spent 3 years with them, and he said, hey, listen, the things that you've seen me do, right, you're going to do it. As a matter of fact, you're going to do greater. And that's one of the things that I've told leaders that I've worked with, is that the things that you've seen me do, you will do greater than what it is that I've done. And I know for a lot of them, it's like, man, that's crazy. Like, why would you say something like that? Well, because I understand. I understand the priority of leadership for me is how many people, right? I don't know what call it was I was on. I said leadership, right? As a matter of fact, it's on the audio that we're releasing. I said leadership. I said, you know, how many people are on your ship? You know, if you got a little boat, right? That's the capacity of a leader that you are. You only have a few people on there. But when you got a massive cruise ship, right? Now that decides what type of leader that you are based on how many people are actually winning alongside with you.
Yes. Yeah.
Good stuff.
You know, the third.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say the third principle right after that, which ties right into it. Principle of leadership is modeling integrity. Modeling integrity. I mean, we could go back to so many stories, but this is why some people's influence won't last. You know, my dad talked to me about leadership. It's almost like a fireworks show. It's dynamic. It gets applause. People come, run from everywhere. You get the attention of everyone. But fireworks are never meant to last forever. After a while, the last one goes off, and then it dies down. And without integrity, we don't have sustainable excellence in our influence. Being a person of your word. One of the things I want to commend you for as a leader, especially in this industry, because when I came into network marketing specifically as an industry, I loved it, but I knew we needed a better and a higher caliber of leadership. And when I saw your life, not on stage, your life, you know, I always refer to you as my brother. I said, this is somebody who's worth following. One, because he models integrity, and not for anybody to see. It was never for anybody to see. I saw how you have treated the unqualified brand new customer, and I saw how you've treated your $1 million a month or $500,000 a month earners. And I've never seen more respect to those who have accomplished more. As a matter of fact, I've seen you go out of your way to befriend those who needed to learn how to believe, who just needed to be at that table. And I was that person. You know, I always remember judging you in the beginning because my wife, who's my wife today, said, you need to go meet him. And I said, no, look at the guy's suit. Look at his watch. Look how he walks. Anybody knows David in a presentation, he walks around like a king. His head is back. And I was so broke that your wealth offended me, right? So I said,
Very
I didn't have
offensive.
the humility.
Very
Yeah, very
offensive.
offensive. You look for all the flaws because you don't have the humility to say, go and learn, boy. So I said, I'm not going to meet. My wife pushed me. Anyways, in that first meeting, when I heard what was coming out of your mouth, I could not deny that there is an anointing on his life. He's different. So, anyways, I made the connection, and lo and behold, you did the kindest thing that I never expected, which was to invite me to dinner with the team. Now, how in all these hundreds of people, he decides to single out? And I think that is what I call integrity. The things that would never be posted in a magazine, posted on a website, applauded on television. It's what you did in silence for people like me to believe, where there was no recognition for those actions. Your word, what you said, what you've done has been in alignment. That's what integrity is for me. The integration of a man's words and his action. He is what he said. And that has been very, very powerful for me. You've given hope for me that this industry can have a very high caliber of leadership because you're leading by example.
And that is really the only way you can have influence, and more importantly, continue to have influence. Because you can have influence with people for a short period of time, but if that integrity is not there, the character is not there, then eventually, right, over time, you're going to lose that. You're going to lose that ability to influence people. And so, leadership, Dr. Luke, is the highest paid profession in the world, right?
It is.
And you're one of the best. One of the best, there's no doubt about it. And when I look at the way that you lead, it's not so much about the money that you've earned, the success that you've had. It's really about that character that you have. All right. It's really about the integrity that you have. And that's what you have influence in my life, right? And you have influence over with thousands of people as well. But there's something that there's a price of leadership, right? And one of the prices is betrayal, right? And I put quotation marks on it because I don't consider it to be betrayal, but I'm sure there's some leaders on here that have worked with people, whether it's in ministry or in business, and they've had people move on. They've had people maybe talk about them behind their back, whatever it was. How have you handled that? Because you studied leadership under the very best in leadership in John C. Maxwell. You're certified
Yeah.
trainer with him as well. So let's talk about that for a little bit, because that's a price of leadership as well. And obviously Jesus went through that as well. So if you could touch on that.
Yes. Well, Dave, I think I've seen it close up with my dad's life. I think it's one of the greatest tests of a leader's character to see how they respond in betrayal. Two things I want to use as an example is that you have to give yourself a break because it's no judgment on the your ability to lead when betrayal happens, because betrayal happened in God's organization. 1/3 of God's organization left. And that means you could give yourself a break. If God, as perfect as he was, had betrayal happen right under him, then you know that if it can happen to God, it can happen to you. It happened to Jesus and his disciples. Now, one of the things that I saw is that betrayal is necessary. Why is betrayal necessary? You have to get to the place where you understand when you are succeeding, what's in danger is your humility and your dependency on God. That's in danger. You don't know it, but you become very it's a dangerous place to be, where sometimes you hear people succeed and they start thinking it's them. That's why success is there are two sides of it. What betrayal does, betrayal keeps my feet on the ground so that I stay dependent on the real source of my success. The second thing that I learned with betrayal is that on the night Jesus was betrayed, he broke bread and gave thanks. Now, do I have the character on the night I'm betrayed to serve those that stayed with me? See, some of us allow our joy to leave with those who left. But I must use my strength to celebrate with those who stayed and continue to serve faithfully in excellence. I thank God for the seasons that we have been able to impact somebody's life. But sometimes it's necessary that people go. Sometimes they may grow more somewhere else than outside than under our leadership. And that's okay.
Right.
Because we grew more under some leaders than other leaders. And what you said to me the other day was so powerful. You said, Luke, if some company called you up, offered you $10 million to go become vice president of sales, do you think I would hold you back? And to me, you've gotten to the place where you have a joy when they come and you also have a joy when they go. And that means you have matured throughout the years to understand there's a greater purpose in your leadership where you're impacting lives, whether their efforts serve you or not. And I think that's hard for a lot of us.
That's the point there. See, that's the point, Dr. Lou, right there. See, and hopefully you guys are listening. You guys, because I'm learning. I'm loving this live right here. That's the point. What is my priority in leadership? Right? You know, when you have the heart for leadership, it's not about me. It's not about what I did. You know, I. And when you feel like that, and they leave, man, or they stop giving you credit. Right? Because sometimes they don't even have to leave you. They can just stop giving you credit. They don't edify me the same way that they used to. They don't speak about me the same way that they used to. And boy, I see it eat leaders up. It just eats them up because they're thinking about themselves. They're not really thinking about that person. They're not thinking about, you know what, maybe that person's not a little cub anymore. Maybe that person's a full-grown lion. So I can't teach them. I can't operate with them the same way that I did when they were a cub. I've got to now treat them like a grown lion. And that's why I don't run my organization like a pride. Because in a pride, there can only be one lion. Right? There can only be one male lion in there, and everyone else is, right, are lionesses. And guess what? He rules over his domain. They go and hunt, and he stays back and he eats, right? So I think what you just said is so powerful. And I don't even call it betrayal anymore. I don't even give someone that type of power to call it betrayal. It's them moving you into your purpose. We wouldn't be where we are today if it wasn't for Judas.
Ooh.
You see what I'm saying? We wouldn't have...
You sure right?
Yeah, we wouldn't have the salvation that we have today if it wasn't for Judas. Imagine if Jesus said, no, Judas, please don't betray me. Don't do it. I am the Son of God. We don't have what it is that we have today. So that's incredible, man. That's incredible. And that's part of the pursuit of good success. Good success. That I think that leads right into that.
Yes, yeah. The fourth, we could go on here, but I'll just give you an example. Somebody left my organization the other day. I called him up and I said, hey, listen, go make a name for yourself. Go get the job done. You know exactly what to do. Go build a business. Never ask him, why did you leave all of that? His sister, who was, he's probably on the call right now, because, you know, Belief Nation is everybody. This is not about one company, right?
Right.
His sister, who was never a believer in the company, never believed in the industry, saw that I celebrated him, and she decided to get started now in the industry when she was against everything she was doing, because now I continued to lead him even though he was not in my organization. He saw that it was not about the volume, it was about the values. And I think that is why we have to have a bigger picture about leadership. The fourth principle of leadership, I know we can get into other things, is problem solving. You have to be able to be a good problem solver. And solving problems for yourself is one thing, But if you can solve problems for millions, you can create a lot of wealth. I think if you look at Amazon, they have solved a problem for billions of people, and that's why they earn billions of dollars. Jeff Bezos. Think of your leadership as you becoming, a good problem solver. And if you jump into the principles, one of the things that you have said, and I've always seen you do this, you don't do so much training on numbers anymore. You talk about them, but I don't hear you get down to the numbers. I don't hear you get down to how many presentations are you doing. People could go listen to that and hear that. What I do hear you doing is protecting what the organization is saying. You don't mess around with what our goals are and what we have said. I have exhausted myself on your videos in the last season, just listening to it over and over and over again. And I told people, I said, if you look at him, he does three things. One, he makes sure everybody is very clear on what's the goal. Two, he teaches on belief. Why? Because it's believing that's going to make this goal possible. And three, he makes sure you understand what are the practical steps and the activities that proves that you believe. And I realized, I said, Luke, you have to do more of that, because you said to me, I never call down to find out why somebody isn't working. There's only one reason they're not working, because they don't believe. Right?
Right.
So you've always solved the problem offensively rather than defensively. And I think that is great leadership wisdom. You have built people up. That's solving a problem where many people, they don't understand the undulations in this industry. But by your experience, you've been able to hold their faith together. You've been able to keep us consistent with what we're saying over our business. You've been able to keep us with our head lifted up, focused on the way ahead. And it's not problem solving as how to open up your back office. It's more teaching people how life works.
Right.
And I really, really do appreciate that. And that's a very high level of problem solving. And you'll be paid a lot of bucks when you can help individuals. I mean, look at Tony Robbins, 10,000 a pop. For people who don't know what they want to do with their life. They pay him $10,000 for a weekend.
They don't even know that they are way ahead, right? Because most people don't have $10,000 to go pay for a weekend seminar. But Dr. Luke, you said something about speaking the vision. I think as leaders, one of the things that's very important is to lead with love, right? And leading with love is putting that person. I don't know what's best for you. I don't, but I want what's best for you, right? And when you lead with love, you're putting God at the center of what it is that you're doing. And then the next thing is to have the expectation. When I speak and I say, hey, listen, 2021 is the year of acceleration. And I say, hey, the things that you wrote down that you thought were going to happen in 3 years, or you thought were going to happen in 5 years, they're going to happen this year. All I'm doing is declaring, right? I'm using the power of words as a leader, right, to influence your thinking. Yeah. See, that's what leaders do. Leaders use the power of words to influence your thinking. Because if you don't do that as a leader, and the first person I had to influence with my words was me. I had to speak to myself, David, this is the year of acceleration. The things that you said were going to happen in 3 years and 5 years, by the time you were 40, guess what, David? They're going to happen this year. You don't have to know how it's going to happen, but when you speak that, and now you say that to other people, now you're giving that good influence, right, to them. Because if you don't do that, CNN is going to influence them. Fox News is going to influence them. Their back office is going to influence them. The real estate market is going to influence them. The stock market is going to influence them. Their MetaTrader 4 is going to influence them. If you don't influence yourself with the right words, if you don't influence your leaders, the people that are following you, with the right words and set the expectation. I have set the expectation for what is going to happen in 2021. I set the expectation for what was going to happen in 2020. I said this was the year of overflow. I didn't know there was going to be a pandemic, right? But I said this is the year of overflow. And when the pandemic came, Guess what? Because that expectation had been put out there, people kept speaking overflow. And boy, has it been a year of overflow. It has been a
Amen.
major, major year of overflow. This is the biggest year that we've ever had, right? And guess what? It's been some of the most challenging year that we've ever had, right? And
Yes.
people still
Yes.
haven't gotten it. Still haven't gotten it, Dr. Louis, because they're still so focused on what they can see versus what they can say, right? And
Go ahead.
as a
Go ahead.
leader, once you set the right expectation, now you can go out and take the action. You can go out and take the massive action in order to create what it is that you desire.
Yeah. The last principle of leadership is creating positive change. It's I'm sorry for keep going back at your life, but this is how I look at you. What you guys did in Houston, I've been seeing your influence increase outside of just one industry, and now you're getting into the fact that your influence can impact a city, right? When you said belief nation, I took that literally. And when we talk nation, we talk millions to billions of people. Your leadership ought to create positive change. What's good in your company can be good for your community, can be good for your country. And, one of the examples of believing for me, there's a picture that I have up there with the past Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. And, believing works in all areas of your life, for your health, for your finances, your mental health, your family. I believe for a child. A lot of people couldn't have children at the time. My wife was worried. They say complications, whatever. I got the name. I said, this is going to be the name of my son. I got it in a movie theater in Curacao. I called her. She says, well, we didn't talk about that. I said, well, I don't know. This is the name I got. Just go write it down in our book.
Judah.
And sure enough, his name is Judah, right? And he was a boy. And she said, how did you know? I said, I got it from God. And I don't fight when I get it from God, right? So for me, I used to say part of my mission statement, because my name Luke means bringer of light, that I'll give, my definite of purpose is my name is Luke, which is bringer of light, and I will give oversight of nations and of kingdoms to lead and develop leaders who will lead with the wisdom of God. And one of the things I used to say is I would lead this country one day, Trinidad and Tobago. And so there was a time I went for sushi, and we were in Jamaica, and they had a roll called the Prime Minister's roll. So I said, I want that one. And everybody around the table says, Luke, that's not a good roll. I said, I didn't order it because it was good. I just want that one. It lines up with something I believe.
Right.
And so my wife was saying, Luke takes these things too serious. She's trying to tell her friends, don't worry, that's how he is. 2 weeks later, we land in Trinidad. I get a call, and it was to meet with the Prime Minister.
Wow.
And I said, I'm taking you with me, Rachel, because you're going to learn how this thing works, right? So she goes there. I say, you think this is just happening randomly? I go there and I sit down. I'm nervous as you can do it. And I had this conversation with him. He's listening to me online preaching. I don't know he's on online. And he says, you have a call to lead in nations. Well, my purpose statement said to give oversight of me. I wrote it down. This is what I've always said. So anything I see that identifies with my definite of purpose, I bring close to me because it's a part of my believing environment. Part of my believing environment, right? There's another person who's a past president of a major nation. I can't put the name out right now because it hasn't been confirmed. But I was closing a meeting, and this person says, I'm putting you in touch with her. And I said, her picture is also in my office. And I said I was going to meet her someday. So 2 weeks after this happened, and for 2 years, David, he spoke to me about giving oversight of nations. And for 2 years, I spoke to him. He wanted to know about revelation, about God, and about prayer. And one Saturday, I got a call, and he had passed away, right? Just suddenly, he had got a call, passed away. And I found myself giving tribute to a leader of a nation. How did you find yourself here, Luke? I don't know. I believed that in my statement, somehow I could impact the lives of those who lead nations. And somehow online, I'm speaking, sharing, and I don't know a leader of a nation is looking.
Right.
And everything that I could do, put together, aligned with my belief, was right in place. So creating positive change will lead from believing that you're supposed to get one task done today to being able to impact. You don't know what office you're going to impact in this world. Whoever is looking on, I want you to know believing is no power to play with. Whatever you see, whatever I heard it in the book. It says, as far as your eyes can see, this is my scripture for 2021. As far as your eyes can see, I'm going to give it to you. The second instruction was walk the land. Take your feet and take action in every. If you want to walk north, go north. I'll give it to you. You want to walk west, go west. I'll give it to you. East, go west. East. Create positive change wherever and whenever you go as a leader. If you're talking to the grandmother, you take her across the street. If you're talking to a school of 500, if you're talking to a nation, I saw you on national television. The things you said we should vote based on our principles. I don't want to get into politics, but exactly as you said, people did. Look at the result today. I went back on those recordings. Your influence has now gone national. And that's powerful.
Now, I want to be clear for people to really get this. When you say, as far as your eyes can see, is he talking about your physical eyes, or is he talking about your other set of eyes?
Other set of eyes.
Other set
the
of
vision.
Eyes. Yeah.
And you close your physical eyes, what do you see? If you don't see anything, that's your vision. Wow. But as far as you can see, he will give into your hands. And that's, I know the acceleration has already begun. It almost feels like, before basketballs, because I know you love sports, before the season begins, preseason gets to the place where they are at their optimum performance. So when game one, you ever see how people start? Game one is not, let's see how this season's going to be. Game one is, you make a statement in game one because you need the rest of the teams to know our preseason was hot. That's how we need to be in December. This is how visionaries ought to be acting in their December. Your pregame, your preseason needs to be. I'm seeing my wife playing soccer outside with my son. My wife is so crazy. It needs to be hot. Right now, I think of Gary McSween, my brother from another mother. He says, Luke, I ain't waiting for nobody. Right now, it's pace. G-Mac, how he does. Right. So I want to encourage everybody, on here. By the way, can I say congratulations to the entire Belief Nation team. You have an incredible team because what we have been receiving for free, can I say this? I see a lot of people charging for stuff out there that they should really put for free. But what we have been getting for free it's world class. Yeah. So congratulations to the Belief Nation team. I had to remember to say that you guys are doing an amazing job. I don't want to call names if I forget somebody, but thank you for standing by, David, and making sure we get all the good stuff out.
Yeah, man, Dr. Luke, we could literally be on here for hours and hours and hours. And you know what? We will do that one day. When we have the Believe Nation conference, and it's a 3-day conference, you'll definitely be one of the featured speakers at that conference. I want to thank you for joining us today. But before they go, I want you to just share with them from your heart those people that are listening in right now. I know. You have a pastor's heart, so you feel the pain that people have. A lot of people have gone through a lot of hurt this year, not just in their health, but also in their mental. I was thinking the other day, it kind of feels like sometimes it's like the world is just like closing in on you, and you're not really clear on what you should do. And I know millions of people feel like that right now. So I want you to talk about that. Just kind of give them some closing words that they can, utilize to really go out there and make some things happen.
Yeah. Well, Dave, if you think of both of our lives, And I go back to a time that I laid on the floor of my bedroom. I was in Miami, Florida. I had a broken engagement 1 month away from the wedding. And I grew up in church, never drank alcohol in my life. Um, I got so broken, man. I drank 6 days a week. I got up in the morning and I drank alcohol. I had never touched any alcohol. I just lost it. I was going on a downward spiral and I was crashing and burning so hard. I couldn't even pick up the Bible and read. I tried to worship, I tried to pray. It didn't feel like it was doing anything. You know, I I was lost. I ended up on sleeping aids, overdosing on that just to get a time to sleep. And as soon as my eyes open, I would just worry. Worry overtook my mind. Fear about the future overtook my mind. I'm not sleeping well. My bed is well made up. I'm sleeping on the carpet. And that's how I'm going. So one night I'm in a bar down at South Beach. And by the way, I ran from anything that said church or pastor or minister. I was just done with it, man. I said, y'all are the ones who hurt me. I'm done with y'all. I just want to run from everything spiritual. And I end up at the bar, and there's a girl over there, and I never had any too much history and background in drinking. So 2 drinks and I'm done, right? so so she's right over there and she's crying. So I said, well, why are you crying? And she's like, why are you asking me why I'm crying? I don't know you. And I just pursued the whole thing. I said, why are you crying? She says, well, I came into town to do this photo shoot, and my photographer said, you're not free and loose in front of the camera. We need to carry out. So she goes to a bar, and it's at a strip club, and she ends up going up there and just wilding out. And she says she's so embarrassed because she's a Christian. And what if her parents found out that she did that? They would be so disappointed in her. Now, here's me. I'm a Christian. And I'm in this place where I've lost it. And now she's crying, but I still feel in my heart to say something to help her, even though I don't feel qualified. And this is what I want some of you to get here. We judge ourselves like how we think. And that's why when you're at your lowest, you criticize yourself not like how God thinks. How God sees you in your weakest time is that He puts everything in the universe to give more strength to you when you're at your weakest. But I realized in that situation when I was there, I wanted to pray for her. I wanted for her to not cry, even though I did not feel qualified. So I started to talk to her and I said, be encouraged. Don't feel bad about this. And I forgot that I was in the bar and I literally prayed for her at the bar. This is funny now. I prayed for her at the bar. When I prayed for her at the bar, she looked at me, David. She said, what are you doing in here? It was as if she said, what is a guy like you doing in here? People like you are. It's like she saw God in me in that environment. And I walked out with my glass like this. I was on South Beach and I went home that day and I started to cry because I thought nobody would see God in me anymore. I thought I didn't deserve it. I thought my mess up was the mess up for the rest of my life. I was ready to drag that failure through all my days. And when I cried, I did the most rookie thing that night. I put my 2 thumbs together on the Bible and I opened it like this, not even knowing what to read. And it fell on Psalm 119, verse 25. And it says, my life cleaves to the dust. And I was lying on the ground. When I looked in the carpet, I saw dust. I said, God, how do you know I'm on the ground? My life cleaves to the dust, but strengthen me according to thy word. And I felt like my spirit took a breath for the first time and go, I said, hold on. Are you telling me the key to my strength now is your word? Yeah. Psalm 119 is the longest chapter in the entire Bible. I read it. It felt like I read it in 3 minutes. I was just eating it up. And I want to say this to somebody. It is in your weakness that God's strength is made perfect in this season. What I had to do after that, Dave, was to believe the way that God believed in me. not how Luke saw me. Because
Right.
when we see in the mirror, like Gideon, we see ourselves as the weakest of the smallest tribe. But when God sees us, he says, you are a mighty woman, a mighty man of valor. And that's what you have to go with. Don't go with your own opinions of your own reality today.
Right.
Go
Right.
with how God sees you based on the word. Trust the word more than your own understanding. Do not lean on it in this time. Trust in him. And I promise you, the next chapter is going to be better.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, man, amazing. Amazing. I think they got maybe 5% of the wisdom. No, seriously, of the wisdom that you possess. So we're excited about what's going to be happening next year in Believe Nation, and you being a part of it, being one of the coaches and the mentors in the area of leadership. I think people are going to. I know people are going to benefit tremendously from what it is that you have to offer and what you're going to be sharing. So, guys, listen, share this live. Watch it over and over again. Take notes. There's so much that was said, and a lot of things you have to really catch, right? You may not have caught it the very first time that it was said, but you listen to it and re-listen to it over and over again. You're going to hear something. There's going to be a moment, that emotional impact that's going to happen in your life, listening to what it is that Dr. Luke had to share with us today, and you're going to go out there and make the change that's necessary for you to grow to the next level. Don't forget, guys, be at the event. It is going to be off the chain. Luke, I wish you could be there, but I doubt the borders will be opened up by then. Hopefully it is. I don't know. But hopefully you can be there. I know Gary was looking to come as well. But, we're going to get through this time, and not just get through it. We're going to thrive through it and continue to grow.
Of course.
So appreciate you again for coming on. Believe Nation, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in January. We'll be back on next week. We got some more exciting guests. We're going to be bringing on some powerful women, incredible women. Young lady over in the UK, incredible life coach and businesswoman, Chantel. She's going to be on. Also, Jill Tankard. We're going to have Jill Tankard as well right here in the U.S. Powerful, powerful woman of God, entrepreneur as well. She's going to be coming on as well. So wanted to bring on some powerful women that could really share with Believe Nation as well. So we'll see you guys real soon. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your week. Have a powerful month, and Happy New Year. Get ready for acceleration in 2021. Take care, guys. Hey, Believe Nation, it's David Imonitie again. Super, super excited to announce that the I Believe experience is finally happening. We've got our VIP night on the 8th of January. Then we've got the Believe experience. The I Believe experience is going to happen on Saturday. It is going to be absolutely incredible. This is also going to be a weekend of giving as well, because on Sunday, we're going to have the I Believe Foundation Gala, the 8th, 9th, and 10th. Start planning for it now. We're going into 2021 very, very fast. This is the year of acceleration. Don't miss it. January the 8th, 9th, and 10th. I'm going to be there. We're going to have some incredible leaders. They're going to be there as well. Don't miss the VIP night. Don't miss the I Believe experience. And definitely join us for a night of giving and sharing with the world at the I Believe Foundation. I'll see you guys, all right? Love you. Believe Nation. Take care.